Rating. The morning sun had barely climbed above the skyline when one tiny metal bolt changed the lives of everyone inside Iron Crest Defense Systems. It was a bolt worth just $1, no bigger than a thumb, forgotten on a workbench after a 12-hour overnight shift. Before lunch, the company's ruthless CEO fired the man responsible without listening to a single explanation. Nobody imagined that the decision would trigger a chain of events leading to the collapse of a $1.2 billion defense contract, expose years of poor leadership, and remind the entire nation that the true value of a person can never be measured by the price of a piece of metal. Before we begin this emotional story, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire if you believe kindness, second chances, and honest people deserve to be rewarded. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories like this to life. Marcus Rowan had never expected life to become so difficult before turning 40. 5 years earlier, he had lost his wife, Celeste, to an aggressive illness that drained every dollar of their savings. Since then, every sunrise began the same way. He woke before dawn, prepared breakfast for his 9-year-old son Owen, packed school lunches, washed dishes, folded laundry, and then rushed to Iron Crest Defense Systems where he worked as a senior precision assembly technician. Every evening he returned home exhausted, only to become a full-time father again. There were homework assignments to finish, scraped knees to comfort, nightmares to chase away, and endless promises that tomorrow would somehow be better. Marcus carried those promises like heavy stones inside his heart because Owen believed every word his father said. Iron Crest Defense Systems was one of the country's largest military manufacturers. Every component they produced required absolute precision because even the smallest mistake could have devastating consequences. Marcus understood that responsibility better than anyone. During 14 years with the company, he had earned a reputation for honesty instead of speed. While others hurried to impress management, Marcus inspected every part twice. Some coworkers joked that he treated bolts and screws like priceless jewels. He simply smiled because he knew that in engineering, tiny things often protected countless lives. The company's new CEO, Victor Holden, saw the world differently. He believed numbers mattered more than people. Quarterly profits, production speed, shareholder presentations, and aggressive cost-cutting became his obsession. Employees feared walking through the factory whenever he visited because one mistake could end a career. Managers stopped reporting problems honestly because they worried about losing their own positions. Slowly, a culture of fear replaced teamwork. On one unusually busy Tuesday morning, the factory was preparing the final inspection for advanced communication equipment that would determine the winner of a massive government defense contract worth $1.2 billion. Every employee worked under enormous pressure. Marcus had stayed 3 extra hours after his shift helping another department solve an unexpected calibration issue. Before leaving, he placed a replacement bolt beside a machine that required maintenance during the next shift. Unfortunately, the exhausted technician who relieved him forgot to install it. The following morning, Victor Holden stormed through the production floor after discovering the unused bolt. Holding it high in front of dozens of frightened employees, he demanded to know who had left company property unattended. Nobody spoke. Security cameras quickly revealed Marcus placing the bolt on the workbench before clocking out. Without asking why, without reviewing maintenance logs, and without speaking to supervisors, Victor publicly accused Marcus of negligence. In front of hundreds of coworkers, Marcus was escorted from the building carrying nothing except a cardboard box containing family photographs, a coffee mug painted by Owen, and 14 years of loyal service reduced to silence. Walking through the parking lot under the bright afternoon sun felt heavier than carrying mountains. Marcus sat inside his aging pickup truck for nearly an hour because he could not bring himself to start the engine. The hardest part was not losing the paycheck. It was explaining everything to Owen. How could he tell a little boy who already lost his mother that their future had become uncertain because of a $1 bolt? That evening Marcus forced a smile while serving macaroni and cheese at their small kitchen table. Owen noticed the sadness hidden behind his father's eyes. Children often recognize pain before adults admit it exists. Instead of asking difficult questions, Owen quietly reached across the table and held his father's hand. Marcus realized then that love sometimes speaks louder than words. The following weeks tested every ounce of Marcus's strength. Bills piled higher. Savings disappeared. He sold his motorcycle, cancelled internet subscriptions, skipped meals, and secretly visited food banks while pretending everything remained normal. Despite every hardship, he refused to let bitterness enter his heart. Each morning he continued helping neighbors repair broken appliances and volunteering at the local vocational school where young students admired his patience and knowledge. Meanwhile, inside Iron Crest Defense Systems, problems multiplied rapidly. The atmosphere of fear caused experienced employees to remain silent whenever they noticed engineering concerns. Junior technicians hesitated to report unusual measurements. Small quality issues accumulated unnoticed because everyone worried about becoming the next person publicly humiliated. 3 months later, government inspectors arrived for the final evaluation before approving the historic defense contract. During extensive testing, several communication units experienced repeated failures under extreme environmental conditions. Engineers worked desperately to locate the cause. Days turned into sleepless nights as millions of dollars hung in the balance. Independent investigators eventually uncovered a shocking pattern. The missing maintenance process that Marcus had carefully documented for years had gradually disappeared after his dismissal. Without his detailed inspection routines, microscopic alignment errors spread through production. None of the failures resulted from the forgotten $1 bolt. Instead, they exposed months of neglected quality control after one of the company's most dedicated employees had been discarded without respect. News traveled quickly through government agencies overseeing the contract. Confidence vanished almost overnight. The massive $1.2 billion agreement was awarded to another manufacturer with a stronger quality record. Investors panicked. Company stock plunged. Newspapers questioned how one of the nation's largest defense firms had allowed fear to replace engineering excellence. Victor Holden found himself facing angry board members demanding answers. Internal emails revealed repeated warnings from senior engineers about declining inspection standards. Several executives admitted they had remained silent because they feared retaliation. The board slowly realized that the greatest damage had never been caused by faulty equipment. It came from leadership that valued intimidation more than integrity. While Iron Crest struggled through public embarrassment, Marcus received an unexpected phone call from the principal of the vocational school where he volunteered. One of the instructors had shared videos of Marcus teaching students precision engineering techniques online. Those videos reached executives at Horizon Dynamics, an innovative aerospace company searching for a new director of manufacturing excellence. Instead of asking about production numbers, they asked about his philosophy regarding teamwork, safety, and mentorship. Marcus answered with quiet honesty, explaining that machines only perform well when people feel respected enough to speak the truth. Within 2 weeks, Marcus accepted an offer that nearly doubled his previous salary while providing flexible hours that allowed him to spend evenings with Owen. For the first time in years, father and son celebrated with homemade pizza and laughter that echoed throughout their tiny house. Owen proudly hung his father's new employee badge beside a family photograph of his mother, believing she would have smiled too. Months later, Horizon Dynamics won several important government projects because inspectors praised the company's transparent culture and exceptional quality standards. Marcus built systems encouraging every employee, regardless of position, to report concerns without fear. Small mistakes became opportunities for improvement instead of punishment. Productivity increased because trust replaced anxiety. Iron Crest Defense Systems continued struggling. The board eventually removed Victor Holden as CEO after concluding his leadership style had directly contributed to losing the historic contract. During one final board meeting, directors reviewed Marcus's old personnel file. Every performance evaluation described him using the same words: dependable, careful, humble, trustworthy. They realized those qualities had been worth far more than any billion-dollar agreement. Several weeks later, Victor requested a private meeting with Marcus. They met on a peaceful afternoon in a public park filled with children playing beneath warm sunshine. Time had humbled the former executive. He admitted that his obsession with appearances and control had blinded him to the people who truly built the company every day. Marcus listened quietly without anger. Carrying resentment would never change yesterday. Forgiveness, however, could free tomorrow. He accepted the apology but chose not to return. His new purpose was bigger than repairing one company's mistakes. He wanted to help create workplaces where fathers, mothers, and hardworking people never had to fear losing everything over a misunderstanding. Years passed. Owen grew into a confident young man inspired by his father's resilience rather than discouraged by hardship. During his high school graduation speech, he told classmates that success was not measured by wealth or titles but by the way people treated others when nobody was watching. As Marcus listened from the audience, tears quietly filled his eyes. Every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every painful setback suddenly felt worthwhile. If this story has touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, leave a comment telling us what lesson inspired you the most, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire for more emotional stories that remind us kindness always leaves a lasting legacy. Special request: comment below with the words, "Character matters more than money," if you believe honesty and compassion are the greatest strengths a person can have. The world often celebrates billion-dollar deals, powerful executives, and impressive headlines. Yet behind every successful company stand ordinary people whose quiet dedication keeps everything together. A $1 bolt did not destroy a billion-dollar contract. Pride did. Fear did. A lack of respect did. But one loving single father proved that integrity can survive unemployment, hardship, and heartbreak. In the end, Marcus never needed revenge because life rewarded the values that no paycheck could ever buy. Sometimes the greatest victory is not getting your old job back. It is building a better future where your child learns that kindness, honesty, and courage will always be worth far more than money. If you'd like, I can also write a Part 2 style sequel with a different ending, or create a YouTube voiceover version with shorter, more dramatic sentences for narration.